Hello, welcome to the webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the second in a series of webinars on careers in the arts for people with disabilities. This one is called Navigating Your Arts Career, Resources and Financial Tools for People with Disabilities. My name is Beth Bienvenu, and I am the Director of Accessibility at the National Endowment for the Arts. As I said, this is the second of a series of webinars on the careers in the arts for people with disabilities. Our first webinar, which was held in May, provided a high-level overview of the field and experiences of artists and arts employers. This webinar will continue the conversation, focusing on the burning questions that people with disabilities often ask when navigating careers in the arts. So just a quick note before we proceed, we will be describing any images on our slides. So this slide has a photo of me, a white woman with medium-length brown hair, glasses, and a purple jacket. The webinars are part of a toolkit due to be launched later this year that will empower artists and other job seekers with disabilities to achieve career success in the arts while educating arts employers, educators, and grant makers on the roles that they play in cultivating full inclusion. We are doing this work in partnership with Art Beyond Sight as a part of a cooperative agreement, and we are looking forward to sharing this work with you. This slide has logos for the National Endowment for the Arts and Art Beyond Sight. The audiences for this toolkit include people with disabilities working in or seeking careers in the arts, as well as arts educators, arts and cultural organizations, and funders. Our webinar today is going to cover a very important topic, which is navigating the tools and resources that help people with disabilities with work. We are lucky today to have a great set of speakers who are experts in the field. We will start with our wonderful host, Andy Arias, who's an actor and policy advisor at the U.S. Department of Labor. He will lead us through the conversation. We will then have Laura Green, who will talk about resources provided by the Actors Fund, which assists people with disabilities in the performing arts. She'll be followed by Robert Pfaff from the Social Security Administration, who will talk about the Ticket to Work program and other work incentives that can help you transition to work while maintaining benefits. Third, we'll have Miranda Kennedy from the ABLE National Resource Center, who will talk about how you can save for important purchases and for the future through ABLE accounts. And we'll be joined by our special guest speaker, Angela Rockwood, who will share her story with us as an actress, model, and entrepreneur. And finally, we'll have a bit of dialogue and answer your questions. So just a bit of housekeeping. You can access the audio for this webinar via the web platform or by calling 877-685-5350 with the passcode 870335. Keep in mind there may be a slight delay with the slides if you're using the phone. Captions are available using the link provided on the left side of the screen. The audience is muted and will stay muted throughout the webinar. However, you can submit questions for our speakers using the question and answer window. We will have a question and answer session at the end of the webinar. And help us continue the conversation. Throughout the webinar and afterward, please use social media. You can live tweet using the hashtag Disability Arts Careers. This webinar will run for approximately an hour and 15 minutes and will be archived with a transcript. And I just want to make a note about language. We recognize that there are multiple preferences for the terminology to use when referring to people with disabilities. Throughout these webinars, you will hear intentional uses of both person-first and identity-first language. So we want to kick off this important webinar by mentioning a recent, very important achievement. Ali Stroker, who played Ado Annie in the current Broadway revival of the musical Oklahoma, recently won a Tony Award for Best Performance by an Actress in a Featured Role. The National Endowment for the Arts supported the development of this production when it started at St. Anne's Warehouse before going to Broadway. This award is noteworthy because Ali is the first Tony Award winner who uses a wheelchair. She was also the first wheelchair user to act on Broadway when she appeared in Spring Awakening with Deaf West Theater, which was also supported initially by an Arts Endowment Fund. So we are thrilled to see her success. While this is a significant achievement for both Ali and people with disabilities working in the arts, we want to note that we still have a long way to go. Ali has noted that working on Broadway is particularly challenging because of the issues with physical access to stages and backstages. So we all have work to do to ensure accessibility and inclusion in theater and across the arts. So to dig into today's topic, I'd like to introduce our host. Andy Arias is a policy advisor on the Workforce Systems Policy Team at the U.S. Department of Labor in their Office of Disability and Employment Policy. Andy works across government agencies to align policy in supporting WIOA implementation. He has a diverse background in advocacy and policy and is also well known as a stand-up comedian within the entertainment industry. He advocates in the entertainment industry by creating visible pathways as an actor and a stand-up comedian. I will let Andy provide a bit more about his background and help lead us in the conversation. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone on the line that is joining the webinar. My name is Andy Arias. That was a great introduction. I have been working in policy for almost a decade now, and I've been in D.C. for over 3 years. And the way I ended up here is a very interesting path, but I wanted to touch really quickly on how my entertainment experience really led me to work in policy. I believe that policy and the media have a very significant role for myself. If we create policy in DC and then the media utilizes that as a tool visually for other people to see it, that's really, really important, and that's what really drives my policy work and my media work forward. I've utilized benefits for quite a bit of my life. When I was growing up, I grew up in systemic poverty and I grew up in foster care, so I utilized Social Security, Medicaid for the majority of my life, and we're going to hear a lot more about those experiences throughout this webinar and some of the challenges that people face in those systems. But I really knew that Social Security was only a stepping stone towards my employment path. I didn't like being poor, and so I wanted to make sure that I was going to be employed as quickly as possible when I moved out on my own at 17. I unfortunately did not know that there were systems in place to assist me, like Medicaid Buy-In, which I'll go into briefly, until much later on in my employment career path. I utilized what's called the Ticket to Work program, which helped me become more financially aware and helped me save some funds that I was using towards some supports that I had on my employment path, just such as assistive technology, if I needed to pay for some PA services, which is personal assistant or attendance services in the workplace. So these are some of the things that really helped me move forward. And I'm going to describe myself now because I'm aware that you guys have no idea what I look like. So I am a wheelchair user. I'm Hispanic and a little Caucasian, I guess, looking, but I'm all Hispanic. I have my hair changes, but in this photo it's brown with a little bit of highlights. And what you see, or what you cannot see in front of you maybe, is a photo of my headshot and a photo of me in front of a green screen with some coworkers as we did a PSA on the Employment First State Mentorship Leadership Program. And then the middle photo is me standing in front of a cartoon version of one of my presentations that I did on disparities. So I wanted to frame this webinar really to empower the folks listening to not be afraid of employment, but even better still, to not be afraid of using the resources and benefits that are out there, like ABLE accounts and Social Security Ticket to Work program. I think a lot of the time we get a lot of information from many different sources and we're like, we don't know what to do or where to go, and then that causes some confusion. So hopefully this webinar will mitigate some of that confusion, and I am available for questions at the end of the webinar. And with that, I'm going to introduce Laura Green. She is the supervisor of the HIV/AIDS Initiative Disabilities Program for the Actors Fund in Los Angeles, California. The Actors Fund fosters stability and resiliency and provides safety safety clinical social work in a variety of settings within the medical, mental health, and nonprofit sector for over the last 10 years. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Laura.
Thank you, Andy, and for that intro, and also for sharing a bit of your story. I think it's very helpful for people. And also thank you to the National Endowment for the Arts for providing this platform. I'm really excited to be here just to provide a bit of an introduction to the Actors Fund and what we do. So Andy kind of shared a little bit about our mission statement, but we are a national human services organization that fosters stability and resiliency and provides a safety net for performing arts and entertainment professionals over their lifespan. And I will come back to describe sort of how our programs aim to fulfill that mission. But I'm going to talk a little bit about who we help. So the Actors Fund is for everyone in performing arts, not just actors, as our name implies, but we are really helping people from grips to lighting technicians, hair and makeup artists, so really everyone in film, television, radio, theater, music, dance, and opera. Last year we helped over 17,000 people directly in all 50 states. A bit about why we help, and there's an image on this screen of 4 dancers in red and black attire, sort of mid-performance. We work solely with people in entertainment, so we really understand the unique challenges faced by our community. Some of these challenges include episodic employment, varying rates of pay, travel, required sporadic work hours, the fact that there's often no real consistent or clear career path for many people in the arts, lack of affordable housing. As we know, much of the work is in major cities where the cost of living is very high. There can be a risk of physical injury, and we certainly see that within the disabilities program, which I manage. And then the issue of obtaining and maintaining health insurance. So many of our clients are freelance and just don't have access to the kind of regular employer-funded health insurance. So we are really here to help people navigate and plan for all of these challenges. And I will add that in working with people who have disabilities and chronic health conditions, we're sort of always looking at all of this through the additional lens of a person's unique, circumstances and situation and, health conditions and all of that. So we're helping clients to prepare for and strategize for all of these things based on their individual circumstances, given all of the elements of unpredictability. So where we help, this slide has an image, or has 3 images of cityscapes in New York City, Chicago, and Los Angeles. And that is because those are the locations of our 3 offices. However, we do help people in all 50 states via phone counseling and online resources. A bit about eligibility. So as I mentioned, our services are available to everyone in performing arts and entertainment. We do have some eligibility criteria for specific programs. So really anyone who works in the performing arts can access our social services department, most of our groups and workshops. We have some additional criteria when it comes to financial assistance and housing, and there's more information about that on our website, and we always just encourage people to give us a call. So kind of coming back to the mission statement, this slide has an image of 2 women sitting at a table talking with one another. And really we like to think of all of our programs and services as fitting into sort of one of these 2 buckets that were part of our mission statement. So we act as a safety net in times of need, crisis, or transition, and we are developing programs to foster stability and resiliency to support people for a lifetime in the arts. So our social services and emergency assistance is really part of the safety net in times of need or crisis. Within our social services program, we have the Disabilities program, which is the program that I manage, and that's really helping people who are facing either short-term or long-term disabilities. We have programs that are specific for seniors and people with HIV, AIDS, and we're helping really with everything from addiction issues to, we might be providing a grant to cover a medical bill or medical equipment. We are doing mental health assessments and referrals. We provide support around sexual harassment. So we have a variety of different groups and workshops, and we're also really working with clients one-on-one to address their needs related, both to work and really just life in general. And sort of the second bucket, we have our programs that are really aiming to foster stability and resiliency for people. So if I am working with a client within our disabilities program who is a dancer and has an injury and becomes disabled, in addition to, sort of all of the work that we're doing in the supportive or in the social services realm, so that would be things like, counseling, linking to medical providers, assistance with obtaining disability benefits, those kinds of things. I also may refer this client to a financial wellness program, given that their income may be affected by their disability. So this would allow them to access our workshops around budgeting, helping them to manage debt, those kinds of things. I may also refer them to our career center where they could meet with a career counselor and if they're no longer able to dance or work in the way that they were previously, it would really be helping them identify what other skills and talents they have and to kind of explore opportunities for other types of work. I may refer them to our Entertainment Health Insurance Solutions program, where we have benefits specialists who can help a person really sort of understand what their health insurance options are. So if this person may be losing their health insurance coverage through their union, we would maybe collaborate. And I should mention that our EHIS program was actually started back in 1996 with an NEA grant. So that program has sort of changed and morphed over time, but is still going strong to help people navigate the world of health insurance. We have programs that are designed specifically for dancers. So in this situation, I may be working with our Career Transitions for Dancers program. We also have a Looking Ahead program for youth, so people aged 9 to 18. And then we also have housing. We have housing, resources throughout we can help people connect to housing throughout the company, but we also offer affordable housing for artists in both New York and Los Angeles. And in LA, we have a 40-unit complex in West Hollywood called the Palm View, which is specifically for people with disabilities or HIV. So that is kind of a little rundown on some of what we offer. And you can find more at our website, which is actorsfund.org.
Oh, Laura, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. So I'm going to jump back a slide, or a few slides actually, and talk about the Medicaid Buy-In program a little bit. Like I was saying, I've utilized this so much, and we at ODEP, the Office of Disability Employment Policy, along with CMS and ACL, are working on a Medicaid buy-in brief that I put together along with my colleagues to really break down some of the barriers and questions that people had in using the Medicaid buy-in brief. So the Medicaid buy-in programs are across most states. Some states don't have them, but even if your state does not have it, you are still eligible for the Medicaid Buy-In program. So that is something that the brief will cover. Also, who is eligible? Anybody that currently receives Medicaid and wants to get into the working program or into any kind of employment. So it basically ups your what you're able to make per income and not take away your Medicaid supports. A lot of what people have said is that I don't want to work because I don't want to lose my insurance. The Medicaid Buy-In really makes it a secure way for you to maintain your insurance while getting employment. And the other thing that I wanted to touch on really quickly is work-related expenses, which you will hear about a little bit later, but basically that means that individuals that need a PA, need any kind of assistive technology or other services and supports that the Medicaid Buy-In is supporting, that does not count against you if you have to pay that out of pocket. So if you are receiving a portion of benefit towards SSA or SSI or SSDI, and you're using those funds, that will not count against you. And that is a work-related expense such as PAs or assistive technology. And I will be available for questions if you have others at the end of the webinar. Okay, and now I want to introduce Robert Fath, the Director of the Office of Employment Supports in the Office of Research, Demonstration, and Employment Supports, which supports the employment of SSDI and SSI beneficiaries by administering employment support programs and developing agency policies and workplace initiatives. And with that, I'm going to ask Robert to take it away.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate it. As we see the slide with an illustration, it is myself standing in front of an American flag, sort of my official SSA photograph. Next slide. And today we're going to talk about SSA's return to work programs. Next slide. So when we talk about SSA's employment support programs, we think of four basic elements, and they consist of employment networks. And I'll talk a little bit more about each of these as we get further into the slides. We also have vocational rehabilitation agencies that we work with. We also have work incentives planning and assistance organizations, and we refer to them as WIPAs. And then we have our protection and advocacy for beneficiaries of Social Security, what we refer to as PABs. And yes, we love our acronyms at Social Security. Next slide, please. So what is the Ticket to Work Act? Well, it was actually mandated under law in 1999, so we are celebrating our 20th year in existence. Congress established the Ticket to Work program. It was enacted, and really what it states is that our disabled beneficiaries who are receiving disability benefits can use this program to obtain employment services, vocational rehabilitation, or other support services available through the program from an employment network. SSA also selects an organization to serve as the ticket program manager to help us basically run the program on a day-to-day basis. Next slide. So talking a little bit about more as to what the program actually is, the actual legislation was referred to as Ticket to Work and Work Incentives Improvement Act. So there's really two pieces here. There's the actual program where you get the services you need, but there's also a bunch of work incentives, and we'll talk about those later. Those are things that are really nice features that enable you to work and still keep your benefits and your health care. We'll talk more about that in a minute. The ticket program really supports career development, and that's services and supports to help individuals get the training and assistance they need to go back into work and to stay in the job. The program, and this is a great feature, is free and voluntary. It is not mandatory. And Ticket to Work holders have the opportunity to obtain our services and supports to enter and maintain employment. Next slide, please. So how does the Ticket to Work program work? So individuals, again, all beneficiaries receiving disability benefits between the ages of 18 to 64 and are receiving benefits from Social Security may participate. SSA provides the following services to assisted beneficiaries to return to work at no charge. So that's, again, free and voluntary services, and those consist of legal advocacy and advice, benefits counseling services to let you know how work will impact your benefits, and again, as I mentioned previously, employment support services, whether that's resume writing, links to jobs, job supports when you're back into the workforce, and so forth, and vocational rehabilitation services, which are sort of more intensive training. Next slide, please. So how do you know if you're able to participate in the programs? We send out notices to beneficiaries to inform them, hey, there's good news that you can participate in this program and get these free services. And we also direct in that letter our beneficiaries to contact us. So we have a dedicated helpline for the Ticket to Work program. This is separate from SSA's teleservice center number. This is a dedicated number to reach us directly for Ticket to Work issues. And I'm going to share that with you right now. That's 1-866-968-7842. The good news is that the Ticket to Work program is still free and voluntary despite the delay. So it's so good in that regard. I wanted to point out a couple of important things here, and that is for those who have questions that are hearing this presentation, we do have a dedicated call center. The number for that call center is 1-866-968-7842, or for TTY is 1-866-833-2967, and that's Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. through 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We also have a website that you can visit, and that is, if you Google search, choosework.ssa.gov. So again, it's choosework.ssa.gov, and that is our public website, and that gives you everything you need to know about participating in Ticket to Work. Next slide. We're going to talk briefly about employment networks, and they are organizations that provide employment support services to our beneficiaries. We have about 520 employment networks nationwide, and if you want to find out more about those networks, you can go through our website or call our call center, and you can get a list of employment networks. You can choose employment networks that are close to you. We have national employment networks. We have a whole variety of services and supports through our employment networks. Next slide, vocational rehabilitation agencies.
Probably all the colors.
So in addition to vocational rehabilitation, in addition to our employment networks, we have vocational rehabilitation agencies that provide services through our program. They are state agencies that provide intensive services to disabled beneficiaries to help them go back to work. And they're more specialized and intensive usually and shorter term services than employment networks provide. but that can be specialized job training or tuition support for classes to learn a trade, assistive technologies, and so forth. Next slide. I just want to talk briefly about our benefits planning assistance available through our Work Incentives Planning and Assistance, or WIPA projects. We have 82 of these nationally that provide free counseling services to beneficiaries who are interested in returning to work. Again, you can get more information on how to contact these projects and how to get these services through our website and our 800 number. What they do is they work with our beneficiaries to let them know exactly what the impact would be when they're on benefits should an individual decide to go back to work. They develop plans, they work step by step with the beneficiaries, our beneficiaries, through the process to let them know, and also to let them know about the benefits of our work incentives and how our work incentives can help them go back to work. Next slide is our work incentives. And so what are they? Well, there's special rules that Social Security has that makes it possible for beneficiaries who are receiving disability benefits to work and still keep their monthly payments along with their Medicare or Medicaid. And some of these benefits include, or some of these work incentives include, trial work period, where you can work for a period of time and have your benefits protected, protection from medical continuing disability reviews, so your case will not receive a medical continuing review to see if you've improved medically while you're participating in the program. Also, unsuccessful work attempts are covered, and expedited reinstatement. So that is to help you if you're unable to if you start work and you're not able to continue work, you can receive your benefits again in an expedited manner. And so again, to get more information, you can call our helpline, 866-968-7842. Next slide is protection and advocacy. I want to touch on this briefly. We, in addition to all the other free services that are available, you can get assistance with protection and advocacy. This is a national network of legally based disability rights agencies, and they provide legal representation and counsel and other advocacy services to help individuals with disabilities overcome barriers to work. It could be everything from accessibility and other issues that may be preventing employment. So that is a service available as well, and that is another service you can access through our website and our 800 number. Next slide. So in closing, I just would like to point out we do have a June 26th webinar rapidly approaching. So this time next week at 3 p.m., we will have a webinar that's titled Ticket to Work and the Path to Employment. It is basically a overview of the program and lets you know what the ticket program is and how you can connect with a service provider, and also about our work incentives. And that you can register through choosework.ssa.gov/wise/details. You can just also go, for easy purposes, you can call our 800 number and ask about it, or you can visit our choosework.ssa.gov website. And that is all I have. I will turn it back over.
Thank you so much, Robert. That was so awesome. I realize that some people may have to get off at 4. If you can stay with us till 4:30, that would be great. We are going to email the slides to everyone, so you're going to get the full presentation. We would love it if you could stay on till 4:30. Thank you so much for hanging with us through our technical difficulties. I'm going to move it right along to Miranda Kennedy. Miranda Kennedy is the director of the Able National Resource Center, a collaborative who choose to support the goals and accelerates the design and of the availability of ABLE accounts for the benefit of individuals with disabilities and their families. The center brings together the investment supports and resources of the country's largest, most influential national disability organizations. Miranda, take it away.
Miranda, don't forget to take your phone, do *6.
Hi, yes. Thank you so much, Beth and Andy. And yes, it's wonderful to be here with all of you. And again, my name is Miranda Kennedy. I'm the director of the ABLE National Resource Center. My headshot shows me a white woman with longer blonde hair than I currently have and a slightly crooked smile, which I still have, resulting from a car accident and traumatic brain injury when I was 21 years old. So it's really exciting for me to hear Robert talk about SSA's work incentives, because back in 1999, I was working on disability and employment issues here in Colorado, and we got so excited and did a lot of promotion in the workforce system and with vocational rehabilitation, going around the state saying that the ticket is coming, the ticket is coming. So those work incentives were and still are such an important tool for people with disabilities. I encourage you to look into them and use them if you haven't already. And I'm happy to be following Robert's presentation on work incentives because this next piece about ABLE really builds off of that nicely. So before we talk about, and I'm going to need some help moving the slides forward, I think. Nope, I found it. Before we talk about what an ABLE account is, let me tell you why there's a need for ABLE in the first place. The simple fact of the matter is that millions of individuals with disabilities and their families are living in poverty or in low to moderate income status, and these individuals depend on a variety of public benefits for income, health care, food, and housing assistance. This assistance is often vital, but it keeps people with disabilities at a distinct economic disadvantage to their peers without disabilities. So after many years of sustained effort by disability advocates, and for the first time in public policy, the Achieving a Better Life Experience Act, also known as the ABLE Act, passed with historic bipartisan support in 2014. And the ABLE Act recognizes the extra and significant costs of living with a disability. Eligible individuals and their families can now establish ABLE savings and investment accounts that will largely not affect their eligibility for federally funded means-tested benefits. Additionally, and this is important, the funds in an ABLE account will supplement and are not meant to replace benefits provided by private insurance, Medicaid, SSI, and the beneficiaries' employment and other sources. So what exactly is an ABLE account? An ABLE account is a Section 529A, tax-free savings and or investment account that's owned by a person who has a qualifying disability with an onset before age 26 and who receives SSI or Social Security disability insurance benefits, or who does not receive supplemental security income or Social Security disability insurance benefits, but has a disability certification from a licensed physician that indicates a qualifying physical or mental disability or blindness. So for instance, people get a little confused about this. I'm 43. My accident happened when I was 21. I'm eligible, I'm not on benefits, but I have a qualifying disability. I've got that letter. So that just to spell that out a little further for you. People get tripped up on that a lot. Also to know that contributions to that account can be made by any person with post-tax dollars. And person's pretty broad here. A special needs trust is considered a person here, as well as, family members, your employer, friends, yourself as an ABLE account owner. And an ABLE account will largely not affect eligibility for SSI, Medicaid, and other public benefits. So why save in an ABLE account? There's a resource limit of $2,000 for most means-tested benefits, right? But with an ABLE account, you can maintain eligibility for SSI, Medicaid, and other public benefits. ABLE savings of up to $100,000 does not impact SSI eligibility or monthly payments. Your eligibility will be suspended will never be suspended, but the cash payments go away if you go above $100,000 in your ABLE account, but they resume if you go below. So that's a factor to take into consideration. And Medicaid, importantly, is not affected by any type or amount of ABLE savings. So you can go above that $100 in your ABLE account. It's not going to impact your Medicaid. There are ABLE account tax advantages. The account income can be invested through a variety of options offered by your chosen state ABLE program. There's 42 state ABLE programs at this point in time, and many of them are open to out-of-state residents. And those earnings, those investments, they grow tax-free. This is an opportunity for people with disabilities for the first time to not just save money, but to make money off of the money that they're investing in here. So this is a really new concept for a lot of folks and a new opportunity. Again, contributions from family and friends, those do not count as income by means-tested benefit programs. That's important to know. And the account owner, family, friends, and others can contribute up to $15,000 per year. This really does help provide a secure future and peace of mind to the ABLE account owner and their family. So qualified disability expenses, I'm just going to quickly summarize this. Those are expenses for items or services to maintain or improve health, independence, or quality of life. Distributions can be taken for these qualified disability expenses. Many ABLE programs offer a debit card for ease of access. And qualified disability expenses through an ABLE account are meant to be really broadly understood. They're not limited to just medical necessity or expenses that benefit no one but the individual with a disability, the account owner themselves. It can also benefit the family in addition to that individual. But we do have webinars and guidance and case studies on that on our ablenrc.org website, so you'll want to check that out. Now let me take a moment here to talk about the 2018 Able to Work Act. This is where Congress enacted this in addition to building off of and increasing the capacity for ABLE and the supports it can provide. This is where an employed ABLE account owner who does not have an employer-sponsored retirement account, this allows them to contribute up to an additional $12,140 from their earnings. This is a key point for this group in particular. Many of you are freelancers, but this is where ABLE account owners, both those who receive and do not receive public benefits, can save for retirement in an ABLE account. And in many states, contributions to an ABLE account reduce tax liability as well. So this means you could potentially put up to $27,140 into an ABLE account per year. And those ABLE savings can be used now for business expenses or saved long-term towards retirement. It is important to note, income still counts as income in an ABLE account and is not protected. It's important to work with a benefits counselor, what we just talked about with work incentives with Robert, when you're pursuing paid work and to make the most of your ABLE account. So pair those things together. So speaking of using ABLE savings for business expenses, and getting back to what we talked about qualified disability expenses, quickly going to introduce you to Sarah, who is, you see her here pictured with brightly colored artwork on a laptop screen, and in the background behind her, she has short black hair and a blue streak and a big smile. Sarah's 36 years old. She's a mixed media artist, and she's ABLE eligible due to a mental health disability. Sarah and her parents are contributing to her ABLE account to improve her overall quality of life. She first used her ABLE account to get out of debt, paying off medical bills, things that were not covered by her insurance and her disability benefits. After that, Sarah met with a benefits counselor and used her ABLE account to support her move into employment. Sarah now works with the Girl Scouts and the Girls and Boys Club while growing her photography business. She's recently entering street photography competitions. All of this increases Sarah's earning ability and allows her to put more money into her ABLE account. And when I spoke with her last week, Sarah was excited to let me know she's now on track to have enough money saved in her ABLE account to move out of her parents' house early next year. So she's using ABLE funds to pay for a laptop for her new business, photography equipment, paying off those medical bills and debt to pay for co-pays. She's using it for gas and transportation to medical appointments and for work events and for work clothes related to job interviews and work events as well. Sarah has this to say about ABLE. I want everyone to have an ABLE account who's eligible. For me, it was a way to get out of debt in a way that was stress-free. Plus, you don't have to contribute a lot to it, but whatever you contribute is well taken care of and you know it's there if you need it. So I'm going to leave you with this resource. On this final slide, you see a roadmap to ABLE that's available at www.ablenrc.org. And there's two parts to this roadmap. There's the roadmap to enrollment and the roadmap to independence. Each of these roadmaps has 5 steps, detailed information, and a short video telling you in the roadmap to enrollment, what is ABLE? Who is eligible? How can funds be used? How do I manage my account, and how do I enroll? We have a state comparison tool that helps you shop the ABLE programs at the ABLE NRC website, so check that out. Once you've enrolled, we have the roadmap to independence, which is how you maximize the account. This helps you to set financial goals, build a circle of support to contribute to that ABLE account, make smart financial decisions, monitor your account, and celebrate your financial independence. So that was a lot of information right there. I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to our hosts because I know, just like you, I'm also very anxious to hear from our very next presenter and kind of our key highlight here. So I'll hand it back to you, Andy.
Hi, everyone. Again, thank you so much for your patience. What I'm going to do now is flip it over to the next slide. I am so excited to introduce a phenomenal woman, Angela Rockwood. She is not only an entrepreneur, actress, and model, producer. She is my best friend. I can say that without bias. And she was in a car accident when she was about 26 years old, and she shattered her spine, and she is a C4, C5, so she's basically paralyzed from the neck down, but that never stopped her from pursuing her modeling career. She's an ambassador for the Dana and Christopher Reeve Foundation. She's ambassador for Global Mobility, who provides wheelchairs to individuals in other countries. She has always known that sort of paralysis was going to be in her pathway, so she's never let that stop her. She is also most known for directing, creating, producing, and starring in a reality show called Push Girls, the first reality show with individuals with disabilities, which if that hadn't been created, we probably would not have the level of disability and inclusion that we currently have in the arts. So it's a real dynamic pleasure to introduce Angela, and she just told me that she's going to describe her own photos, so I will pass it over to her and let her describe the photo in front of us.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. It's me, Angela. First off, thank you so very much for giving me this opportunity to be on this webinar. It's so important, extremely important, because I feel very honored. It's important to show individuals and express that you could still live with a disability and do your passions and receive benefits and still have a fulfilling life. And it's not easy, but it can be done. So like Andy said, I'm going to describe my photos before I start. And basically there's 3 photos there. The first one is basically my headshot, but it's a full body shot. So what you see is me in a wheelchair, and I am a wheelchair user, and I'm Amerasian, so I'm mixed race. My father is Italian, German, and mother is Thai and Chinese. And I'm wearing a burgundy top with jeans on and smiling at the camera, just giving my love. And then the second photo is an actual photo from my TV show that I created called Push Girls. And it's with my 3 best friends, Mia, Tiffany, and Ati. We're all in chairs and looking fierce as ever. And they have different ethnicities. And so one is American. Well, actually, Ati is Hispanic. And then Mia is, we have Tiffany, who's the all-American blonde, our blonde wheelchair goddess. And so then there's myself, who's Amerasian. And then the third photo is me sitting in my chair, wearing a leather jacket and modeling It was for a Nordstrom campaign that I did. And so that's pretty much it. And I can start by saying that I have been in the industry for 27 years. I entered the industry when I was 17. I am now 44. And my accident, like Andy said, I was involved in a horrific car accident when I was 26. So I was not born with my disability. I did get paralyzed from the neck down. I don't have dexterity. I'm not able to push. If you do lay me in the bed, I'm not able to roll over. So I do need assistance and rely on folks to help me in everything. So it doesn't make life very easy. I do it effortlessly though, because that's just who I am and it's my attitude. And so to begin there, like I said, I was injured in 2001, and I knew that I was going to be in a car accident. It might sound crazy, but I had a premonition at 17 years old that I was going to be in a horrific car accident. So when I woke up in the hospital and I looked up at that ceiling, it was like deja vu. And I had this voice that spoke to me. And when the doctors told me that I had 3 to 5% chance of moving or feeling anything, I accepted that I was now in this vessel where I couldn't move, but I knew that I was going to move and feel in other ways. So it did not stop me from living my life. So today, like Andy said, I'm pretty much a model, an actress, a TV producer, a TV host, and just an overall rolling empire entrepreneur. And I basically got back into the industry about 4 years after my paralysis. And when I first was injured, I was married to my ex-husband. And unbeknownst to me, I was receiving my benefits, my Social Security, and very generic, about $500 a month. And I started modeling 4 years into my injury, working for Nordstrom. I worked for Nordstrom for 7 years. And then in 2012, I had pitched and created my reality show, Push Girls. And with that, I made the responsibility to call the Social Security office, and I told them to freeze my benefits. So from 2012 to 2014, I did not receive any benefits. And actually, when my show ended in 2013, for the following year, I still didn't receive any benefits. So by 2015, I went back to the Social Security office to kick in my benefits, because in my situation, if I could just get up and throw myself in the wheelchair and go out and work a 9-to-5 job, I would do it. But unfortunately, I have to rely on others to help me do everything. So I can't just work a normal job. So for me, it's a balancing act. And so I had to go back on benefits and then receive my medical and then also my Social Security. And then in 2017, I started to work again. And I started working for World Poker Tour as a TV host, which I'm still doing now. Now, I had to learn the hard way. So my suggestion for everybody out there that is listening, you can have a life where you want to be an entrepreneur and do what you like, but you have to go to the office or online or read the pamphlets. You have to educate yourself. You have to know what the rules and the regulations and everything is. Because I had to learn the hard way, but now I'm able to balance it out, where today I am working as a TV host and still doing my acting and my modeling and everything as I'm still receiving benefits. So when I work, I know the rules of what I need to do to go off the benefits and then go back on the benefits and then continue to do my life. So now what I can tell individuals is that the most important thing is that when you get these letters in the mail, you have to take responsibility to basically inform them of anything that you're working on and everything, because if not, they will take your benefits away. And I had my benefits frozen for 9 months, and it was very difficult for me because, like I stated, I rely on my nurses to do everything for me, and I need my medical supplies, which are at least $3,000 a month. So I'm not able to go out and just work. And but I found a way from the system, because I did go to the Social Security office, and I've spoken to 5 different individuals So I truly, truly, truly deeply educated myself. And I pretty much think I can work for the Social Security office now. So that is my biggest tip that I can tell individuals out there of how to basically do what you want to do and then still receive your benefits. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much, Angela. That was amazing. The one thing I do have to push 2 points because I've been on this journey with you for a minute, and thank you for saying you have to educate yourself because you really do. Like I said, having the Medicaid buy-in brief and knowing about Medicaid buy-ins, because they do work with Medicare and Medicaid, which are two different systems, is a way for people to not be in those systemic barriers that they find themselves in, so they will not go to work. And I appreciate you being on the call. And now we're going to flip to a resource page, and I'm going to have Beth just go over quickly resources.
Sure. So you can take this away with you. Some of the resources that we covered include the Ticket to Work program and other work incentives. I'm going to read the URLs just for accessibility. It's choosework.ssa.gov. We talked about the Actors Fund and all the work that they do. It's actorsfund.org. The ABLE National Resource Center, where you can get lots of great information about ABLE accounts. It's ABLENRC.org. The Office of Disability Employment Policy at the U.S. Department of Labor, where Andy is doing his great work. It's www.dol.gov/ODEP. And then a resource he wanted to share is Career Pathways. We said roadmap?
Yeah, so the Career Pathways roadmap is www.leadcenter, one full word, it's lead, L-E-A-D, center, CENTER.org, and /career -pathways. So basically this quick roadmap starts you off and you're at a go point, and it's like, I want to get a job. What do I need to know about benefits? What career pathways are out there for me? It does cover Ticket to Work. It does cover Medicaid buy-in. So there's links where you can go and get those resources that you need to get on a career pathway. It's very easy. It's very interactive. It's mobile, and it's on a web page. So if there needs to be follow-up with that, you can get a hold of me as well. And then we also have Angela Rockwood's website, where you can find her for public speaking engagements and all kinds of other things. It's www.angelarockwood.com. So with that, I'm going to send it over. I believe, Beth, you have a question for me.
Yes. One of the questions that came in, I think would be relevant to some folks, it's for Andy. Someone said, I need to know how to receive travel and expense stipends for an art exhibition without risking SSD benefits. Do I create an LLC or track all my activities? Is creating an LLC risky?
So here's what I can give you. Creating an LLC will put you in you have to pay taxes on that LLC regardless of whether or not you're receiving benefits. So I wouldn't recommend creating a separate LLC for yourself. What I would say is being upfront with the Social Security office and saying what the amount of the stipend is, letting them know that it's broken down within a certain period so that you could utilize that and not be penalized may be important. Also, the majority of the time, if the stipend is not as significant, like in the several hundred or thousands of dollars, they might say to you, if it's a one-time thing, they're not going to hold it against your benefit because essentially you're not employed by using that travel stipend or lodging or whatever it may be. Now, if it's a consistent stipend that you get over a period of months, that's something that you need to take into account. But travel and a quick stipend for maybe a public speaking engagement If it's a one-time thing, just let them know, document your information, and work with them to mitigate the losses to your benefits.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all the time that we have for the questions. We did receive a number of questions, and we were able to answer them, some of them through the system, so you might have received an answer, but what we're going to do is compile that list and see if we can get some answers, and we will explore how to maybe to send that out to everyone, and make sure that you get your answers. And we can also provide email addresses for folks in case you want to follow up. We will be archiving this and cutting out all of the music, the hold music. We apologize for that, and thank you so much for your patience. And for those of you who were able to stay on, I'd like to thank all of the speakers, Laura and Robert and Miranda. She also had a colleague there with her who is available to answer some questions. And I would like to thank everyone. I'd especially like to thank Angela for joining us and sharing her story. It was so important to hear from someone who's making it work and doing such amazing work. And finally, I'd like to thank Andy for his wonderful hosting and his expertise. He's a great partner to have, who's not only a policy person, but also an artist himself as an actor, et cetera. I posted contact information for National Endowment for the Arts and Art Beyond site if you need to reach out to us. And I also want to say that our next webinar will be in late July, and it will be on the topic of arts education, how we can help to build the pipeline for artists with disabilities and working with, so the target audience is arts education, organizations, schools of the arts, universities, conservatories, but anyone is welcome to join us. So thank you all again, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Take care.
Thank you very much.